everybody, thank you for joining me. I hope you're all well and safe and looking after yourselves and still keeping up the social distancing so that we can beat this thing. 19th of April I said that I was going to start a DBA project, and the army that I was going to do was South Wales, which is from 12th century, so it's like 1100, and it's a DBA army, which is obviously for these rules. And so there was 12 stands, and we had 9 stands of 3 bowmen, 2 stands of 2 Siloi, and we had the cavalry stand. And I've just finished it about half an hour ago, and I have to say that I now recall why I don't or didn't enjoy painting irregular armies. If an army was uniformed, so say for instance Romans, possibly 100 years English, then I find it much easier to paint because you've got a structure to your painting. When you have to kind of flip between colours in order to make various figures look different, I really struggle with that. So imagine if I was painting an early Confederate Civil War army as opposed to a Union army. I would find it much easier to paint the Union army than the Confederate one. So without further ado, I shall get the figures and we'll have a look at them together. So here they are, guys. As you can see, the 12 bases all complete. I had to kind of experiment with the basing as well, with the materials I'd got, to see how I could best do that. It's perhaps a bit dark, but the colours I had, it was easier to highlight up to the lightest green that you can see on there, as opposed to going beyond that to a certain extent. And I also prefer a darker base because the shadow of the figure starts out with the very dark green, and then as you move away from the figure, the base gets lighter. Not much to say really. These are all Essex figures. I believe there is a mix. There's 1 or 2 that perhaps are from an earlier period, but nevertheless they fit in quite nicely. I was running out of steam a bit to vary the colours and cloaks and so on, so I'll just zoom in a bit so we can see some of them a bit clearer. So obviously we have the nobleman and his retinue as the general in the middle there, and everybody else is like from his manor, so to speak. So that's my first DBA army painted in about I don't know, should we say 20 years? Maybe that, maybe only 15. Certainly it's been a while. I'll just put a paint pot next to them so you can see how big they are. Everybody knows the Vallejo paint, so if I grab one of them, that gives you some idea of the size of the figures. Obviously these are 15mm. So the next thing for me to do is to paint up their adversaries, and the DBA lists, what they do is they give you people they can ally with, but also obviously people that in this instance the South Welsh used to fight. It indicates that I think they used to fight amongst themselves, but I want to do a different army. So what I'm going to do is perhaps one of the armies that everybody knows and loves the period for, which is Viking. I'm going to do a Viking army, and that will be all foot. So there's 12 bases. I've got an idea that may entail 48 figures, but the thing about the Viking figures is there's a lot of chainmail on them, so there's quite a bit of dry brushing, so hopefully they won't take as long as these. So that will be the next step in my DBA project. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. You know, as I say, stay safe. Thanks for your videos. I'm going through them. I'm not always commenting, I'm sorry about that, but I do comment as and when I can. It's ever so odd. We're in this lockdown situation, and so we feel like we've got plenty of time, but once you start getting, well, I feel that once you start getting involved in something like this type of project or the Big Rig Group build or something, you once you're in the zone, you then find that, you know, you're spending 3 hours a night or something, and then it's time for bed, and although you may be watching videos, to stop and comment just breaks the flow, and so it doesn't always happen that I comment on videos, so sorry guys for that. I know how much I appreciate comments, and I'll try and do better in the near future. Anyway, as I say, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.